Hey guys, it's Josh Snell, and I'm here with Field CTO Brian Anderson. We're going to talk about using the CLI for custom reports. Take it away, Brian.
Awesome. Yeah, there may be examples where we want to pull specific sets of data out of the Cato management application that really cater to exactly what you are looking for. Maybe a dashboard has something like that, but you want to run a very specific query and you want to get that data extracted in a CSV format that you want to send to maybe some other system. So we're going to talk about how to use the API Explorer and the CLI to be able to extract exactly those types of data.
And if you don't know how
And
to
so
use the API Explorer or the CLI, there's been previous videos where we walk through that. So just reference those on, in the YouTube playlist.
Yep, and that's also available in the community as well. So there's a couple of interesting calls, for example, the app stats call, the application statistics, or the app stats time series call, where you can then say, I want to look up certain pieces of information about the traffic for the users in my environment. And the Explorer kind of gives you a nice UI ability to sort of build one of those. So maybe for the last 14 days, I want to look up specific things. Like, for example, maybe I want to look up an application name and I want to look up specific users that are accessing those applications in my environment. And then maybe I want to have, some measures, like, for example, the sum of all traffic. Maybe I want to have the traffic, I want to see how much traffic is being consumed for each one of these applications. So here, what I'm doing is I'm building a query and in doing so in the Explorer, I could then execute this query and then it gives me some data back to review. So
Mhm.
this is interesting that I get the specific data back, but this isn't necessarily useful to me as an end user, as a person
Mhm.
in JSON format. But what we do have is this CLI command that was created for me. So we have previous videos on how to set up and configure the CLI from a configuration perspective. But what I can do here is run the help menu on this command that was just generated for me with my specific set of data. And I see here that it has a format option to be able to specify a format of, for example, CSV. And so if I were to output this data now into CSV, oh, I didn't have any data for that particular range of time. Interesting. Oh, I need to configure this for my current account that I'm working on. So just a second here. I'm going to switch profiles, which is a great feature of the Cato CLI to use another account that I have that actually has data in it. So I was on an account that didn't have any
Oh,
data.
there's nothing to pull from there.
Exactly. So it
Yeah,
said, hey, I don't have
it's
any
actually a
data.
good
But
thing to
now I,
show because that
yep.
might
So
happen, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I switched my profile to one that does have, because you can have multiple profiles you manage. And now that I do have that, if I cat this file here, I have lots of data
Oh,
that I
that's
just
awesome.
pulled down from my reports, right? So now I have
Oh,
a
that's so
useful
cool.
what applications, how much traffic, how much user,
Yeah,
and I just created
that
that on the
is.
fly,
And that's
right?
awesome because as someone as a previous sales engineer, I love the reports in the CMA. But if you're doing very specific reporting and you want to get down to individual users and applications and have very finite surgical controls, that capability is massive. And then you could use that data in business applications like Tableau or other ways to be able to showcase it because now you have it in a format that's exportable and easily used to be able to use in other business applications.
Absolutely. And so if you go to the GitHub page, the CLI has a link to some of these things that are documented, but you don't even need to do that because I could just go directly inside of the help menu inside the CLI and say, show me my app stats. What we did is maybe app stats time series, which is reporting over time for different application statistics. And I scroll up here, it's got all of these examples built directly into the
That's
CLI.
super
And
cool.
so all of these queries that we see, things like socket port metrics or account metrics or looking at health and jitter and that sort of thing. All these things are natively kind of built in. And so if I wanted to, inside of here, also when I run the help menu, notice that there's a dash N. And a dash N allows me to forward this data that I get back to a particular host and port on the network.
Yep.
So if I wanted to run that exact same query and I didn't have dash F equals CSV, I would get back JSON data. And that JSON data I could then forward to a listener, for example, a Splunk or an
Yep.
Elastic or some kind of thing
Bingo.
to ingest that. And
Yep.
so here's your time series databases that's going to
And that allows you
ingest.
to script and have jobs for certain reporting and data and share it across not only security tools, but like I said, business application tools. And then you could set these jobs up for individual pieces of data that they want, right? And then once
Mhm.
it's set up, it just happens and the data just gets fed on the timing you do it. That's really, really cool.
That's exactly right. So also there's event time series, which tells you information about your events, what users are being blocked, what applications don't have TLS, whatever, or socket port metrics with, health and throughput and bandwidth requirements, that sort of thing. So at a high level, this is a custom reporting overview for the CLI and how to use the Cato API Explorer to help generate those and formulate those queries.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.